Today I'll be showing you how I work with Inktense blocks. Hi there, my name is Michelle Cashmore, and in today's video I'll be going into a bit more detail about how I use Inktense blocks to create the effects I do in my paintings. So Inktense are a kind of water-soluble ink medium that are made by Derwent. They come in both block and pencil form. So here's my tin of the blocks here. Yours may look a little different as they recently released new tins with new cover artwork, but the contents of them are still the same. Inktense blocks are really versatile in how they can be used. So you can use them directly onto the paper, which I don't tend to do, but you can also use them to make up ink mixtures and apply them with a brush. And this is what I'm going to be showing you in a bit more detail today. So let's move on to the demonstration itself. So to start off with, I'll just show you what these blocks look like. Hopefully you can see that okay. They look almost like pastels, and you can apply them to the paper directly and then use water over the top of them, just like so. But I like to use them almost like solid watercolour pans. So I'll just show you how I mix up colours here. So I've got a couple here that I'm going to make a mixture of. Now you might notice here that there's a number on the block. So that's the pigment number, and if at all possible I always try and work from the other side just to keep that number readable, as the colour of the blocks themselves is hard to tell just by looking at them. So I've just taken some clean water here and a synthetic tack-on brush, and I'm just applying water to the block and then dabbing it into the palette here, and I can just keep going until I've got as much ink as I want. Now the more water you apply, the lighter the ink mixture will be. So it just takes a little bit of practice to get to the consistency that you want. And another thing to keep in mind is that when you set these down after using them, don't set them down on a flat surface like your paper or your work surface. They'll stick to the surface, they'll make a mess, and you'll also waste some of your blocks. So I will just set them off the edge of my palette or anywhere that's going to keep the damp side away from anything else until it dries, and they don't take long to dry. So I'm going to add in some blue here, and I can just mix this exactly like I would paint, and you can just mix these together. So with this you can create any colour you want from a limited number of blocks. Really, you don't need the whole set to be able to create a large variety of colours. Now I always have a bit of test paper with me, so I have some watercolour paper here. This is a bit rougher than what I normally use for my actual pieces. I normally use hot press, and this I think is either rough or cold press, but it was just to give an example of how this works. So just test my colour there. So that's actually a bit bluer than I want for this, so I'll go back and add some more green. I've just got a paper towel there, just so that I can dab my brush off and not have too much water when I'm working with this. Okay, and you can see here how that's changed, and that's quite a deep mixture, that's quite vibrant. Now I can either apply water directly to the paper to lighten that up, or I can just take some of the mixture in here and just mix it with a little bit of extra water to get a less pigmented mixture. So they apply very like watercolours. The main difference between them and watercolour is that once they dry completely, they're permanent, so you can layer over the top of them very easily without lifting up previous layers. The other big difference is the white block, which is very opaque compared to compared to some of the other colours. So you can see that mine has been well used here. So I'll show you how I like to create fine lines using the white block. So I usually work directly with the block itself because I find you can get a much thicker and more pigmented mixture this way. So I just take my liner brush and just work up a good mixture on there. And once my brush is well coated, so you can see there immediately how that stands out from the dark blue. And it actually goes on a lot more translucent than it dries. So that will lighten up as it dries and stand out even more. But the white block is by far the one that I use the most, and the one that I'll need to replace sooner than all the others. But using a liner brush here, you can see how fine a detail I can get with the blocks. So they're really good for covering large areas using big brushes, but you can also use fine liner brushes like these ones here just to get some really fine details. And just at the end, when cleaning up, I just use my regular brush cleaner, same as I use with acrylic paints, same as I use with watercolours, and they just clean up very easily. So I hope that gives you an idea of how to use the Inktense blocks. And that is it for this techniques video. I do hope you found it useful. If you'd like to see more of my videos or be kept up to date with what I'm working on, then please do subscribe. You can also find me at Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or at my website michellecashmoreart.com. I hope to see you again soon.